Okay, so hi everyone. So our prompt was how do you design user research for complex domain, and also what are some recommended tools and practices. And actually how we started is we just went through kind of standard steps of a process. I think you're all familiar with it. It's pretty much based on the kind of double diamond methodology or standard process. And so for each step, we try to look into like what is unique in an enterprise field. And actually, we identified some items. I think what's interesting for me, it's like these are probably less about the like design field or less about the design profession. It's a bit more about, hey, it's really complex, and you know it's a long one, and how do we even manage it? So in the KIKO phase, what we identified is that usually for an enterprise project, like both sides, like if there's a client or maybe there's no client, but even the kind of who we deliver the project for, and also the project team can be pretty large. So as opposed to some project done by a small team, we probably need a lot more organization here, you know, like kickoffs and defining the scope, agenda, KPIs, roadmap, etc. So basically we need to make sure that the whole team is aligned on just what we are working on. And yeah, like probably in a small team, we don't necessarily need to think about stuff like, okay, define a communication platform, like should we use Slack or how do we document it? So it's, I mean, many of these things are also present in smaller projects, but I think it's just their importance is getting much more in case of a large and complex project. I think one interesting thing we identified is that the stakeholders or the stakeholder map can be really complex. So basically, when it's a B2C product, it's a lot of times it's just the end user. But in case of a B2B, it can be like, I don't know, procurement and various directors and managers. And like, I think it's an interesting question. Like, should you really design only for the people using the product, or should you take into account all these other stakeholders who play a role? Also during the project, we identified that, you know, the whole project team staying synchronized is super important. So at IBM we have these sessions that we call Playbacks, which is basically just the whole team coming together, and we just discuss like where the project is at and what are the learnings, what we need to focus on. So I think that's super important for a project which can go on for like a year or multiple years. Yeah, and then basically at the end we identified also things like business strategy can change, you know, especially if it's a long process, it can be that the market changes, business strategy changes. So basically we invented Agile at the session. We were super proud. And also we collected a few unique factors. And what is it that I haven't mentioned yet? Yeah, one which is probably really special, but and maybe not necessary about complex or B2C versus B2B, but we also identified that you know, maybe you have interfaces beyond the UI. It's like, you know, there's this terminal interfaces, it's CLI and API, you know, like how the machines will interact with your product. Probably you need to pay more attention to this in case of a B2B one. And we also had in the prompt like tools, but I think there was no surprise there, so probably same tools that everyone uses for B2C as well. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions?
Hi.
Nope.
So like when you start to talk about like in case of B2B projects, you need to get like more stakeholders involved than in case of B2C, and I'm just wondering why is that?
what I meant is that, yeah, and it's a good question, like, because B2C can get complex as well. So I think it's maybe we were thinking more about like enterprise versus like small companies. So you're right. Like, for example, if it's B2C, but it's like, I don't know, Hungarian Telecom, probably it's gonna be same complexity. So yeah, that's a good point. So maybe it's Spotify or, yeah. But I think as the, like the size of the client grows, probably these roles get more specialized, but that can happen for B2C. That's a great point.
Thank you.
Cool.